After the 33rd week in a row, Margot, the part-time girl, told Jerry that she wouldn't work Tuesdays anymore on account of the boredom.
Boredom, is it? And with the darts matches on and all, I should have thought it'd be anything but.
He drained off his whiskey with a smack of the lips and leaned up close to Margot's sweater.
You can tell old Jerry girl, lad's a bit too free, is it? Visiting teams taking the piss.
Margot blushed in spite of herself and tucked her arms firmly across her chest.
Can't say as I blame them, none. Hard to ignore the...
Never you mind about that. It's not the lads at all. It's Morris.
Morris? Our Morris, what comes in on a Tuesday?
Haven't I just said so? I can handle any 50 gaping lads, and you too for that matter, Mr. Jerry Culhane.
She shook his hand off her shoulder.
But whatever can old Morris be about? He has his pints all quiet and tidy, over on the lounge side. Don't mix with the darts folk at all.
I know. That's just it. He don't mix. He's too bloody boring.
But many's the time I've come in and seen him chatting away to you, free as you please.
Have you ever listened in?
Well, it don't do. Now do it.
Don't it then.
Margot put one hand on her hip and the other in the air, pointing a painted nail at a certain well-used stool.
You seem to have no trouble lurking about when it's my Derek on the other side of the bar.
Lurkin? Who you callin' lurkin? I bloody well owns this place, I do, and...
And on it went. Jerry, for all that he was the owner of the Tinker's Dam, liked a spirited wench, particularly behind his bar. Perhaps it went with being an Irishman in Wales. Margot, for her part, respected having a boss she could tell to go shag himself without losing her job. There were other pubs in the Vale, of course, and other wenches as well, but neither side of the argument fancied looking them over. After a bit of stuff and nonsense, Jerry's residual charm had its way, and Margot agreed to work another Tuesday, provided Jerry considered her plea. Tuesday came, and with it a fine drizzle. The darts team stamped in shouting at 7, and for half an hour both Jerry and Margot pulled pints as fast as the beer would flow. No sooner were the lads tucked into their game than the front door opened, and around to the side of the lounge came a thin, dour figure, smoothing at his mustache. It was Morris, wearing his gray pullover vest and an old-school tie knotted just so up on his chicken-skin neck. He walked to the far end of the bar, took up his spot next to the passageway, and ordered a pint of Welsh bitter. Margot pulled it.
Ooh, spot of weather out, isn't it?
Margot said it was. She served up his pint.
Still, always wet this time of year.
He handed over the coins, and his mustache twitched.
Better bite 'em, see if they're real.
Margot rang up the sale, but before she could turn away, Morris said,
Been up to much lately?
No, just watching telly.
There was a brief flurry of buying on the bar side, and Margot joined Jerry in serving.
That didn't sound so bad.
Said Jerry out of the side of his mouth.
He's not half started yet.
You're altogether too high-strung, lass.
Jerry eased his belly past Margot's hips and stood watching the play of the darts. Margot clung to the lager spigot like it was the last pair of shoes on bargain offer. But out of the corner of her eye she saw Morris finish his drink, smooth again at his mustache, and wait for service. Stalling, she delivered out nuts and cigars to an old gent on the visiting team. Then Evan Evans threw 2 treble 20s and a double 10 to win, and Jerry sent Margot over to the lounge to fetch the Jameson. There was a young couple back in the corner doing things with their hands, and 2 commercial travelers huddled near the fire. But otherwise the lounge held only Morris. He brightened when he saw Margot.
Spot of weather out, isn't it?
Welsh again.
Said Margot, stretching high to reach the Jameson.
Please.
Said Morris, with a downward glance at her thigh.
Still, always wet this time of year.
Margot bent down and rearranged her dress. She began to pull the beer. Morris ran a finger along the underside of his mustache.
Been watching a lot of telly then, have you?
Margot nodded, willing the beer to pour faster.
Still, with this weather, it's not so bad. Telly.
Margot made an involuntary noise in her throat and hoped it sounded agreeable. She handed across the beer and waited for the coins.
Better bite 'em, see if they're real.
Margot fled, running the length of the connected bars to wait on Fat Howell, who was shouting and pounding the bar over his singles victory. Jerry served the losers, and then Margot took the next in line, who ordered 2 bottles of Forest Brown ale, which sent her back across to the lounge side.
over and back, like a bloody tennis ball.
Margot bent for the bottles.
If this weather keeps up, you'll be wishing you had a tennis ball, eh? Ha ha ha!
Got a customer.
Said Margot, backing away.
Still, always wet this time of year.
After that, Margot fought to serve the darts players, waiting at their elbows, cheering on the play, bustling about straightening chairs and ashtrays until Fat Howell complained of fussiness. Morris had a third pint, Jerry serving this time, and then tottered off satisfied, with a final comment to Margot not to watch too much telly.